I'm gonna say it one more time. Just because you are attracted to me does not mean I am trying to attract you. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Homali, your internet big sis, and I like to share advice, tell you stories, and talk about all the things that nobody wants to talk about. Now, before I begin this video, I wanted to share that I know the Sephora sale is happening right now, so all the products that I use in this video are going to be something that I would recommend picking up at the Sephora sale. Everything I use will be linked on my LTK, and the link will be in the description below. Now, recently I posted a lighthearted meme on my Instagram. It was this one here.
Do you know them? No, but in Curvy, we all fam. What? In Curvy, we all fam. In the club, we are all family. Are you racist?
And I wanted to share a comment that was left underneath that post. It said, her goal is to show her cans. And I thought, let's talk about this because I know there are so many curvy girls out there that get over-sexualized or called an attention seeker or a slut or whatever it is just for simply existing in their body. When I say I've heard endless comments about my chest, I mean, they started at a young age, like before I even really understood what it meant to be sexualized. Having a bigger chest always left me so confused because I could never tell if it was a good or bad thing. On one hand, you were always told that boys are attracted to girls that are more curvy, that have a chest or that have a bum. I've had numerous girls tell me they wish they had a chest like mine. I can't even begin to tell you how many DMs I've gotten about girls asking my bra size so that they could get the same size when they were gonna do a boob job. And you know, there's a consistent message in the media that curvy girls are the ones that are attractive, especially if you have a big chest and a big bum and a tiny, tiny little waist. And so going by that, I definitely had a body that was attractive based on society's standards. But then on the other hand, I was constantly over-sexualized and made out to be a whore or a slut or an attention seeker. So yeah, all these mixed messages left me feeling really confused about my body. And I think what's really crazy is I started getting comments about my chest as early as 14 years old. A time where I was still learning my body and coming into myself and getting used to all the changes that puberty had like sprung on me. You know what, let me just share some stories of comments I've received throughout the years. So one of my earliest memories of a comment being made about my chest was in grade 9. I was seated around 6 different guys in geography class, not by choice, it was a seating plan. And they started talking about how I look like a certain corn star, replace the C for a P, if you get what I mean. And since then, for the rest of the semester, they basically called me Jugs. That was my nickname the entire semester. And I did tell them to stop, but I was young, so I didn't fully know how to stand up for myself or how to actually make them stop. I also don't think at that age I was able to fully comprehend how inappropriate that comment was. And although that was the first time I was compared to a corn star, that definitely wasn't the last. Throughout the years, I've had multiple guys tell me that I could be a corn star, or that if I went to the gym and just got a little bit more of a butt, then I could definitely have the body of a corn star. And it wasn't until later on in my life that I realized how deeply unsettling and uncomfortable those comments were. Like in the time, they made me uncomfortable, but I didn't know how to articulate why. And I guess in a way I would try to brush it off and justify it as a compliment because from a young age, you're taught to validate yourself through male attention. And obviously if boys find corn stars attractive, then I guess they're trying to call me attractive. But at the end of the day, like when you really look at the situation, it's just such a weird comment to make. And they're just looking at me through a sexual lens and not as an actual person, which when I realized this as an adult felt so dehumanizing, and I felt really bad for my younger self because obviously back then I didn't understand all of this. I didn't understand the over-sexualization and objectification of women. This type of behavior was justified to me as, oh, this is just how boys are. That's just how their mind works, you know? When I was in grade 10, one of my classmates, Sahil, came up to me and asked me if I had gotten a boob job. And I was like, yeah, Sahil, my Indian immigrant father paid for my boob job at the age of 16. Like, are you insane? Like, think about what you're saying. In grade 11, I had a male teacher ask me if my bra was showing and to cover it up because it was distracting. Spoiler alert, my bra wasn't showing. I was wearing a bandeau. I don't know if I'm aging myself with that word. Do people still wear bandeaus? I'm not sure, but I had to wear a tank tank top or a bandeau under everything, because if it fit me on my chest, it didn't fit me anywhere else. And if it fit me anywhere else, then it definitely didn't fit me on my chest. In grade 12, I was wearing this purple turtleneck that had a cutout right around my chest. It was probably like this big. It did show a little bit of cleavage, but it wasn't anything insane. It would be the same amount of cleavage I would show if I was wearing a regular top with an open neckline. I remember this girl calling me out in front of all the guys, being like, oh my God, Molly, you're such a slut. You're such a whore, because I had this cutout in my turtleneck. But ironically, this girl was wearing a tank top with like straps that were about this big. If she had the same size chest as mine, she would definitely be showing the same amount of cleavage. And that comment, I think, is when it really started to hit me that I was going to be called an attention seeker, a whore, a slut, no matter what I was wearing, because here was this girl that was showing way more skin than I was, and yet I was the one that was being called a whore and a slut. Also in grade 12, I was working and it was winter time, so I was wearing a turtleneck. I was covered completely from like head to toe. There was no cutout, no skin showing through this turtleneck. And I had a customer come up to me and ask if I had gotten a boob job. And again, it was just so confusing, because here I am at 17 years old working in retail. Like, who is paying for this boob job? Like, why would you think I had gotten a boob job? And I look so young too. Like, it's not like I look mature for my age. I look really young. I definitely look like I was in my teens. When I was 17, I probably could have passed for like 14, 15. So these questions just really confused me. And that was the moment I realized that even if my chest is fully covered, someone will still make a comment about it. And then I got a little bit older. I went off to university, and in first year university, I lived with 6 guys and 5 other girls, okay? It was a crazy time. Like any university student, I wore a lot of sweatpants. I didn't really dress up because I didn't feel like it, and I just always wanted to be cozy, especially when I was lounging around in my apartment. Like, why would I be wearing anything else? Anyways, there was this one day where I had just come out of the shower. I was wearing a tank top and I was walking past a bunch of my roommates that were sitting in the living room. And one of the guys goes, oh, you actually do have boobs. You always dress like a man. Why do you always dress like a man? I was so pissed. And the fact that he said that in front of everyone, like a good chunk of my roommates were there, like at least a good like 6 or 7 of them were there. And the fact that he felt so comfortable saying that in front of everyone was appalling. I basically was just like, you're so fucked. Like, why would you even say that? And I got angry, and then I left and I went into my room. And I could overhear all my roommates just being like, why the fuck would you say that? So thankfully they all had my back, including the guys that were there. They were just like, that's such a weird fucking thing to say. Like, why would you say that? And then he came into my room after to apologize. And as soon as he said sorry, he looks me in the eyes again and says, but you do have boobs though. You guys do not understand the rage that came out of me at that point. And that's when I realized whether I'm showing cleavage or hidden under baggy clothes, someone's always going to have something to say about my body. Because in all of these stories I described, I was never dressed inappropriately, not even once. Majority of those stories happened at school or at work. And the only story that didn't happen in those locations happened in my dorm, where I was wearing baggy clothes that were covering my body. It's almost like what I'm wearing isn't the problem at all. We've just been taught to sexualize and objectify women. And it was around that time I was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna wear whatever I want, whatever I feel good in, because at this point, it doesn't even matter anymore. People are going to make comments regardless. I need to stop focusing on what I think people want to see me in and just wear whatever I feel good in. And so that's how I started dressing, which means sometimes I show some skin because I'm feeling sexy and I feel good in that outfit. And sometimes I dress more modestly when I want to be covered up. The way I look at it is my body isn't going to look like this forever. I'm only going to be young once. And so I might as well enjoy and embrace my body instead of consistently feeling ashamed and embarrassed of it. And don't get me wrong, like that doesn't mean I have no body image issues or that I don't ever feel uncomfortable in my body, but I try to remind myself to embrace it and love it as much as I can. Also, when I talk about being able to show skin and wear what you want, people think I have zero social awareness. And it's just so stupid because like, obviously I'm dressing appropriate for the occasion. Like, I'm not showing up to family functions with my ass hanging out or to a business meeting with my tits in your face. Like, of course there are certain clothes that are appropriate for certain situations, but like, I just don't understand why I'm getting criticized for wearing a bikini at a beach or wearing a low-cut top when I'm going out to a bar or a club. And again, I'm not stupid. I know if I go out in something that's a little bit more sexy, where I'm showing cleavage or it just is really hugging my body, whatever, and I'm looking good, that people are going to look. I know I look when I see a woman with a banging body because she's beautiful. Like, of course you're gonna look. I understand that's going to happen and I accept it, but what I don't agree with is when people are over-sexualizing a woman. There's a difference between appreciating her beauty and objectifying her and sexualizing her. Like, it's so unfair to equate being curvy, and forget even being curvy, just being beautiful or attractive, to being sexually suggestive. Like, it's just not the same thing. And I think because society has taught people, especially men, but pretty much everyone, to sexualize and objectify women, that they don't know the difference. Like, they don't know how to control themselves or be respectful in those situations and just appreciate the beauty instead of calling them an attention whore or a slut for being an attractive person. Remember, just because you are sexually attracted to me or parts of me does not mean I am trying to sexually attract you. I'm just trying to wear my cute little outfit and feel pretty like all the other girls that might not be as curvy. Like, there's nothing I can do about my chest. It's attached to my body. I can't just detach them and be like, you know what? I actually don't feel like being sexualized today. Like, be so fucking for real. I'm gonna say it one more time. Just because you are attracted to me does not mean I am trying to attract you. Like, leave me and my cute outfits alone. You know what I mean? Now, if you're super young watching this, like in your teens, please do not take this video as a sign to dress sexy or dress like a grown woman. Unfortunately, we still live in a world that puts the responsibility and blame of women being over-sexualized onto women, while also simultaneously being surrounded by influences like the media, especially social media, that upholds and encourages this beauty standard of being sexy. And I think at your age, it's hard to understand the nuances of that all, because as girls, we are taught to seek male validation. And let me tell you, as a girl, that's something you're going to get regardless. But if you start dressing and acting older than your age, then you're gonna get more of it. And that's not something you want, and that's not your fault, but I need you to understand that not all attention is good attention, even though it may feel like it at the time. And unfortunately, that's something you may not be able to fully understand until you get older. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I used to get a lot of attention, and it wasn't until I got into my late 20s that I realized how messed up a lot of those things were and how disgusting and uncomfortable and inappropriate they were. Honestly, as a teen, it's not your job to fully understand this or fight these battles or try to change the messed up ideologies we have within society. That's our job as the women of the older generation, to fight these battles for you so you don't need to keep living in a world like this. And I think that's something we're currently working on, but you know, it's an ongoing process. And so all we can ask from you during this time is to protect yourselves in the best way you can. And that's truly done by enjoying your childhood and not trying to grow up so fast, and focusing on dressing in the things that make you feel pretty instead of focusing on trying to be sexy. And then when you're in your 20s and have a better understanding of things and know how to stand up for yourself and fight your own battles, at that point, dress however you want, because you'll have a better understanding of how to protect yourself and how to not get taken advantage of. And again, if you're in your teens, please don't take what I'm saying as an insult, as if I'm saying you're young and dumb and don't know any better. That is not the case. I think this next generation of girls is fierce and smart and so capable of anything they put their mind to. But I also know that there are certain levels of knowledge and understanding that only come with time and experience. And unfortunately, the way society views women and their bodies is one of them. So that is why I say all these things. Anyways, that is the end of my rant. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You already know the drill. All the products I used are linked on my LTK. The link is in the description below. These are all products I would highly suggest picking up at the Sephora sale, because this is basically basically my go-to makeup look. Some of these products, like the eyeshadow palettes I used, are a little bit more expensive, but I totally think are worth it. Also linked on my LTK is a list of products that I would recommend picking up at the Sephora sale that I didn't use in this video. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna end off this video. If you did like it, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel, and maybe send it to someone that needs to see it. And if you have any questions or advice you want to ask me, or topics you want me to cover in my next Get Ready With Me, let me know in the comments below, or send me a message on Instagram, and maybe I'll cover it in next week's video. Anyways, thank you so much for all the love and support you constantly show me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!